Good evening, small groups. Pastor Trey here. So thankful to be with all of you. We are so excited for what 2026 is going to be doing here at AOC and all throughout your small groups. And, I just believe that the Lord has some great ideas, great insight, and great provision that's going to be coming to all of us. And so tonight's message, tonight's small group video, we're going to be talking about lifting your eyes. And we're going to be in the book of Genesis, chapter 13, starting in verse 1. And it says this: So Abram left Egypt and traveled north into the Negev along with his wife and Lot and all that they owned. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. From the Negev, they continued traveling by stages toward Bethel, and they pitched their tents between Bethel and Ai, where they had camped before. This was the same place where Abram had built the altar, and there he worshipped the Lord again. Lot, who was traveling with Abram, has also become very wealthy with flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and many tents. But the land could not support both Abram and Lot with all their flocks and herds living so close together. So disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot, and at that time Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. Finally, Abram said to Lot, "Let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. After all, we are close relatives. The whole countryside is open to you. Take your choice of any section of the land you want, and we will separate. If you want the land to the left, then I'll take the land on the right. If you prefer the land on the right, then I'll go to the left." Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord or the beautiful land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom and settled among the cities of the plain. But the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord. After Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abram, "Look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I'm giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. And I will give you so many descendants that like dust of the earth, they cannot be counted. Go and walk through the land in every direction, for I'm giving it to you." So Abram moved his camp to Hebron and settled near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. There he built another altar to the Lord. So tonight we have 6 different things that we're going to talk about, 6 different key areas that we can really focus on reading from this passage. And number 1 is vision shapes direction. Vision shapes direction. Vision, it is not just about where we want to go, but how we choose to go, how we choose to live our life today. In 2026, as we think of it as it is ahead of us, and Genesis 13 shows that vision often follows our decisions. And when we make decisions, we're often following the path on where we choose to make those decisions. And Abram and Lot stand at this crossroads with each other. It's the same land, it's the same resources, but they have different futures that are in front of them. And so this key thought coming from this is vision determines destiny long before destiny is even visible. Vision determines destiny long before destiny is visible. The second thing that we can learn from this is that growth creates tension. If you ever grown before, you realize and you know that there is tension that comes with it. So Abram, he is a blessed man. He is blessed, but blessings bring pressure. Blessings bring this pressure. The land can no longer sustain everyone together. It can no longer sustain both of them. So this conflict reveals the need to have a clarity and a sense of direction. And so in 2026, growth without vision starts to lead to conflict. And so I'm going to challenge y'all, if you want to grow, start praying for vision over your year. And as you step toward 2026, recognize that new seasons require new choices and not the same old arrangements. And so we need to be willing to get out of our comfort zone, and we need to be okay with making new choices and getting out of our old arrangements. And number 3, Abram chooses peace over control. Come on, people. Abram chooses peace over control. And Abram gives Lot his first choice. If you realize that he gave Lot the first choice to choose wherever he wants to go, and it is an act of humility and it is an act of trust that Abram had towards the Lord. And and it shows that there is a vision, not in just grabbing, but in releasing. It's okay for us to have vision, but release control of what our next year looks like and just ultimately place it into the hands of God. And so Abram trusts God in this, not the opportunity of having a lot. He trusts God of giving and blessing and having favor over his life with his resources, but he's not trying to have control over it. He's just blessed enough to have the opportunity to receive from the Lord. And so this vision principle that we have here in number 3 is vision is proven by what you're willing to let go of. Vision is proven by what you're willing to let go of. And so in 2026, you need to ask yourself, what do you need to release? What do you need to release? Do you need to release control? Do you need to release comparison? Do you need to release comfort? What do you need to release so that you can receive the vision that God has for you in 2026? Number 4 is Lot chooses by sight, not insight. Lot chooses by sight, not insight. And that was where his mistake was. Lot chooses what looks best for right now. When he was given the opportunity to look around and scan out what he wants, he was just choosing based off of what he thought was good right then and there. But when you look at it, Lot, when he chooses by that, he's losing the aspect of having insight of what his future could be. So he evaluates land by appearance, not by direction. And vision based only on only what looks good can lead toward danger, and as you can read later on in that. And so a short-term gain can cost a long-term purpose, and that's what was happening in Lot's decision on choosing what looked good for him, not what having insight was for his upcoming future. And so for 2026, don't ask only what's easiest, right? Don't ask what's only what is easiest. Ask the Lord, what aligns me with your direction? Not necessarily what is easiest. Sometimes when we follow the Lord in his direction, that means we have to go through some valleys. We have to climb over the mountains. But the reality of it is not necessarily because it's easiest, but to have a good sense of direction from God is what's going to lead us to the promises that he has for us in 2026. And number 5 is God speaks after separation. So in the King James Version, God says, lift up your eyes. So God speaks after Abram and lets Lot go. And then vision starts to expand when in Abram's life, when distractions start to be removed. So Lot was a distraction. So now these visions for Abram start to show up, and God gives Abram a bigger view of what the north is, what the south is, what the east and what the west is. And so God reveals greater vision to those who trust him with less. And so in 2026, God's vision, we can pray that his vision will be broader than what we can even see, that his vision can be greater than what our own eyes are able to see. And this is a great opportunity for us to align ourselves with obedience, because obedience positions you for expansion. Obedience positions you for expansion. And number 6 is this: walking in the vision. Abram doesn't just look, he moves. He doesn't just look and is at awe, but he takes action. He moves. He builds an altar in verse 18, and it's a vision that starts to lead to worship and then ultimately leads to action. So my final challenge for you to start 2026 is this: lift your eyes, trust God with your choices, and walk where he leads you. Vision for 2026 begins when we choose to stop choosing what looks best and start choosing where God is going to take us.